Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, DC Direct, Page Puncher the Flash. This is the third wave of Page Punchers, and it's a Flash themed wave. I got this figure from the McFarlane toy store. The entire wave is in stock right now, although I'm sure a lot of people have mixed feelings on the wave. Figures look good, they look cool, but they all look very weird. Very far from their traditional looks. So let's check out the packaging. As you can see at the top, ages 12 plus, includes an exclusive comic book in the English language. DC Direct, McFarlane Toys. It's nice to see that DC Direct logo. It's been a while. This is how DC Direct is going to live on, by making Page Punchers, artist-specific versions of characters under McFarlane. DC, the Flash. Here he is the package. Looks like he has a comic, display stand, collector's card, and a couple of Speed Force effects. He has this armored helmet look to him. It kind of reminds me of that Flash from the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League. One side of the package, the Flash from the Flash comic. Page Punchers. Other side, somebody says Page Punchers. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case it helps anybody. And on the back side, here's the Flash, and here's the comic. So no further ado, let's open him up. And I got this figure with the entire wave of Flash Page Punchers from the McFarlane toy store. Like I said before, they're all in stock right now. Alright, now that I got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand, collector's card, comic book, and 2 Speed Force effects. But before we look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Flash. I'm assuming this is Barry Allen. He's in a semi-armored suit. He's got a helmet on. Reminds me of Flash from the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, or the future scene from Batman vs Superman. Makes me think of something that would be in the old Kenner Total Justice toy line. That being said, he actually looks pretty cool. The promo pictures, I just thought all these figures looked really weird, but in hand, they're a lot better than I expected. So let's take a look at them. Start with his head here. Like I said, he's got a helmet on, big visor there. You can see one of his lightning bolts is sort of warped. We'll try to fix that with some hot water shortly. A lot of sculpting details on his suit, but it's all one solid red color, so kind of takes away from it a little bit. Some more lightning bolts on his shoulders. The Flash logo in the middle there. Like I said, a lot of different texturing inside of here. Smooth on the outside. Very sort of weird design. He's got 2 running hands, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. A lot of sculpting detail in this guy. Weird, but I kind of enjoy having a semi-armored Flash figure. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Not bad. Definitely reminds me of the future version of Barry Allen. This figure kind of gives me a Turbo Man vibe, and it also kind of gives me a Johnny Quick vibe. He's a member of the Flash from the Crime Syndicate and the alternate universe. Now let's see what we can't do about this warped or bent lightning bolt. McFarlane has a bad habit of sometimes posing figures in a package, which looks cool, but sometimes it will leave their limbs or other parts warped. Typically if you did these guys in hot water, it would revert back to the way it's supposed to be. Sometimes you have to do a little massaging. So I brought some water to a boil, dipped in the Flash figure for a minute or two. I didn't actually have to touch anything, and it reverted right back to being a straight lightning bolt. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle. It says DC on the bottom. It's got 1 peg for the pegals on his feet. Very thin, very basic. Now let's take a look at his collector's card. As you can see, it's a replica of the Flash #1, the series that Page Puncher Wave is based off of. We've got Heatwave, Gorilla Grodd, Captain Cold, the Atom, and the Flash. The Flash. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Now let's take a look at the comic. The Flash #1. You can see the 5 characters from this wave of Page Punchers. Not much going on the backside. Now, one thing I'm a little annoyed about with these comics, there are 5 figures in the wave. It'd be cool if you could get issues number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Encouraging you to read, buy all the figures, collect the entire series. But that's not the way it is. Each one of these figures comes with a Flash number 1. And to add insult to injury, they all have the exact same cover. They could at least give you some different cover variants. Maybe even the logo, the Flash, in different colors at the top. I mean, something different for the collectors out there. And like I said, now I have 5 of these comics, all 100% identical. Doesn't really encourage you to get the entire wave if maybe you're on the fence about 1 or 2 of them. Now let's look at the Speed Force effects. He has 2 of them. They're both made in a semi-transparent yellow plastic. Looks like they're going to wrap around his arms, simulating lightning bolts. They're not identical, they're both a little bit different, unique sculpts. Here's the Flash in a running pose without the Speed Force effects. And here's Flash with the Speed Force effects attached. One on either arm, showing him running fast as lightning. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 7.1 inches tall, which can translate to about 18 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up about that far, not too much, down that far, quite a bit. Can tilt his head from one side to the other, giving a good amount of personality. Shoulders, on a ball joint, goes out more than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion, and covering up that big ugly gap. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist kind of rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Double ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one his waist, rotate around, forward and back, giving him a very wide range of motion in his torso area. Legs completely does splits. Not a ball joint, but a similar type of concept. Rotation is non-existent. They go forward about that far, back not much. Double jointed knees below that. Then his ankle here, done in the new style, a lot more seamless, not those ugly ball joints. Forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and to articulation. For this next scene, let's switch to a city type setting. Here's the Flash running through the streets of Central City. This is his story after all. And a closer look at Flash, running as fast as he can. He's trying to meet up with the Atom, as he's concerned some of his rogues have teamed up together. Flash meets up with the Atom, and just as he's trying to warn him what's going on, in drops Gorilla Grodd. Loud thud. Everybody's favorite telepathic gorilla. He's here to take out these 2 heroes. Enter Heatwave and Captain Cold. Our heroes are surrounded. Gorilla Grodd has the 2 of them under his mind control. He's determined to take down the Flash today. The Flash and the Atom, they just look at each other and nod. They know what to do. They both go straight to work. Flash enters the Speed Force, and the Atom begins to shrink down. The Atom shrinks down to a very small size. He jumps up into Captain Cold's freeze ray, disabling it, forcing it to short. Atom is disabling Captain Cold's gun, while the Flash decides to take on Gorilla Grodd. The Atom climbs over Gorilla Grodd's body, working his way toward Heatwave, while Flash keeps the big ape distracted. Atom gets onto Heatwave's flamethrower, disables that as well, easily taking down Heatwave and Captain Cold. And now, our 2 heroes get to deliver the knockout punch to Gorilla Grodd. Now let's check them out, next to some of their action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane page punchers. Here's Flash with the rest of this wave of page punchers. This is a Flash-themed wave. The only non-Flash characters can be the Atom. This is the 3rd wave of page punchers, based off a new Flash comic. And if you add Gorilla Grodd and Mega Figure into the mix, this is the complete Flash wave, 5 figures. Rumor is there's a gold label variant of Captain Cold, and I'm pretty eager to find out what that's going to be like. And here, next to the previous wave of page punchers, this is only a 2-figure wave, and it's based off the Injustice 2 comic. It looks like maybe they're going to be continuing the wave. We've now seen the Injustice Supergirl leaked online. Then, with the first wave of page punchers, these were based off a Black Adam comic. Still trying to get the Walmart exclusive black and white Black Adam. Here's Flash, next to the Target exclusive Crime Syndicate wave, Ultraman, Superwoman, and Owlman. This version of Flash makes for a decent substitute for Johnny Quick, the Crime Syndicate version of the Flash. And if you wanted to add in the Blackest Night version of Deathstorm, that's the DC's version of Firestorm, he also makes for a decent Crime Syndicate version of Firestorm. Now let's check him out, next to some other McFarlane Flash figures. Here he is, next to the DC Rebirth Flash. This is also Barry Allen, and he's also from the comics. And here he is, next to the Injustice 2 Flash. This is based off the video game, and it's also Barry Allen. Then, with the DC Cinematic Universe, Zack Snyder's Justice League Flash. This is Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller. And now, with the CW Arrowverse TV series Flash, this is also Barry Allen, played by Grant Gustin. Here's this page puncher Flash, next to Flash from Justice League Unlimited cartoon. This is actually Wally West, not Barry Allen. And here he is, next to another Flash from the Rebirth comics. This is Wally West. Here are all the different Flash figures McFarlane has made so far, and there are some more coming out. We have the Speed Metal Wave, the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Kid Flash, and even more upcoming. Now let's check them out, next to some other Speedster characters. Speedsters are pretty much other DC characters with similar abilities to Flash. Here he is, next to a couple of Reverse Flash figures. Here he is, next to Godspeed. Godspeed is sometimes a Flash villain, and sometimes a Flash ally. Then, next to Red Death. Red Death is essentially a Batman-Flash hybrid from the Dark Knight's Metal Dark Multiverse. And here, next to the Dark Flash from Speed Metal. Here are all the different Speed Force figures McFarlane has made so far, and like I said before, there are plenty more to come in the very near future. Now let's check them out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the 2 newest Mega figures, at least before Gorilla Grodd. These are Bane and Necron. Then, here's Flash, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Hush Superman, and the Target exclusive 30th anniversary of Batman from Batman the Animated Series. Here's his Flash, next to some Walmart exclusive Gold Label figures. We have the Rebirth Shazam, the Speed Metal Dark Flash, the Nightfall Azrael Batman armor, and the Parallax Hal Jordan. And here he is, next to the Rebirth Deathstroke and the Court of Owl's Talon. Then, with the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold 2-pack. Here's Flash, with the Speeding Bullets Batman, and the Dark Knight's Metal Batrocidus. And here he is, next to the Future State Superman, the New 52 Static, and the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow. Then, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Gold Label paint variants of the Arkham Knight Scarecrow and Red Hood. And now, with the Black Adam movie wave. And finally, here he is, next to the Blackest Night wave, Collect to Build Atrocitus. Now let's check him out, next to some Flash figures from different various companies. Here he is, next to all the different McFarlane Flash figures they've made. Here's this McFarlane Page Puncher Flash, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Flash figures. And here he is, next to a Noble Toys bendy figure of Flash. Then, next to all of my Mattel Flash figures. Here is my entire collection of Flash figures. I have a lot of them, but there are a bunch that I don't have. Here's Flash, next to a couple of Dr. Zoom figures. On the left from DC Direct, and on the right from Mattel, another Speedster. And here he is, next to a Mattel Reverse Flash. Then, next to a couple of Kid Flash figures. On the left, the old school Wally West Kid Flash, the original, and on the right, TV's Arrowverse Kid Flash. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and were way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing next to some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collected figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, with some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a really cool Flash figure. I like him a lot more than I expected. When I saw the promo pictures of these figures, frankly I just thought they all looked really weird. None of them looked like their iconic selves. But in hand, I like them all a ton more than I thought I was going to. And that goes for the entire wave. Heat Wave, Captain Cold, the Atom. They're all way better in hand than I expected. The Flash's accessories are okay. Unfortunately, they're just for his hands, the Speed Force effects. His articulation is pretty much everything you would expect from a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. The sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. It's actually a very intricate sculpt on the outfit. If I were to rate this figure, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I was expecting to give him like a 5 out of 10, but he looks way better and just feels a lot better in person than the promo pics made me think. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.